Hello, welcome to Movie Summaries. Today we are summarizing a 2020 horror and fantasy movie called The Old Ways. Fair warning, there are spoilers in this summary. Enjoy, and be sure to subscribe to watch more videos weekly, and hit like. The movie is set in Veracruz, Mexico. A woman is seen lying on the bed, inside a wooden hut in the middle of a jungle. Several people surrounding the woman are chanting religious prayers, and an old woman with a painted face, named Luz, is leading the ritual. As the woman undergoing exorcism convulses in pain, her younger daughter, Cristina, watches with great worry and fear. Seeing her daughter frightened of her, the woman beckons little Cristina and tries to comfort her. Holding her daughter's arm, she tells her that she need not be afraid. But suddenly, the woman's appearance changes, and she screams at poor Cristina like a demon. The movie then fast forwards to the future. In a dilapidated house, a woman with a sack over her head is held captive when a man named Javi enters her cell and starts lighting candles. The woman identifies herself as Cristina Lopez. Cristina is all grown up and now an American citizen who works as a reporter. She tries to talk to Javi and asks her why she was in a region called La Boca. Cristina explains that she visited La Boca because she is doing a story on the local tribes and culture, but he continues to remain skeptical of Cristina's visit to La Boca. When everything fails, Cristina gently requests the man if she can meet her cousin named Miranda Flores. Hearing Miranda's name startles Javi, and he abruptly leaves the room. Luz, the same woman who performed an exorcism on Cristina's mother years ago, appears and takes a worrying look into Cristina's eyes. She too then abruptly leaves the room, before telling Javi that she has it, implying that the demon is inside Cristina. Javi then force-feeds Cristina with a jerry can full of goat milk to purify her soul as she gags and struggles to breathe. Cristina breaks into tears. Later, she is dreaming and relives venturing into La Boca, which is revealed to be a forbidden cave. Inside the cave, Cristina saw a frightened creature standing on all fours. The creature then suddenly attacks Cristina, and she wakes up from her sleep. Even after waking up, she continues to hear otherworldly screams, and Luz is seen looking at a frightened Cristina from the gate. When Cristina looks at the gate, Luz disappears, and she notices a rooster inside her cell. The next day, Miranda arrives. Cristina is relieved to see her cousin and pleads with her to rescue her. However, Miranda tells her that these people are not going to let her go. She further adds that Cristina should have listened to her warning and not gone to La Boca. Frustrated, Cristina retorts that she is a journalist, and it is her job to go places where she is told not to go. Well, she's then responsible for the predicament she is in now. She further adds that it is just a cave. Miranda replies that La Boca is not just a cave, but a ruin, and the woman Luz is trying to help her. Luz is a bruja, which means witch in Spanish, and Javi is Luz's son, and they think there is a demon inside Cristina. She gets enraged by the suggestion that Luz and Javi want to help her when they are making her drink goat milk, piss in a bucket, and have her chained to the room. Cristina pleads with her cousin to call the authorities, but Miranda tells her that these people are the authorities around here. Exhausted, Cristina resigns and asks Miranda if she can help her at least get her bag, to which Miranda agrees. When Javi leaves her alone with her bag, Cristina takes out a small pouch from her bag and hides it in her bed. She then calls her editor, Carson, and tries to alert him about her situation, but Javi takes away her phone. Before leaving, Miranda tells her cousin that Luz will begin her exorcism tomorrow. At night, Cristina notices a kid looking at her through the gate. She tries to talk to him, but he runs away. Bored, Cristina pulls out the pouch she hid in her bed. The pouch is basically her heroin kit. As she prepares her dose, she again drifts into the past. Cristina is seen preparing to leave for Mexico from Los Angeles. She sticks a note on her pet fish Chip's fishbowl at work saying, "Don't let me die," and then meets her Los Angeles editor, Carson. She informs him about the trip to her hometown for a story on local cultures. Carson expresses concern over Cristina's well-being, as she has always suppressed her childhood memories in Mexico, but Cristina insists on going. Cristina then injects herself with a drug in her foot and then passes out. Cristina wakes up next morning to find her legs and hands tied, and her body has been painted with ash and blood. As Javi performs a dance in the background, Luz starts the ritual. Miranda explains to a frightened Cristina that the demon came last night, and this ritual will reveal more information about the demon. And Luz claims that the ritual will reveal its name. After this ritual, Cristina will see strange things. Maybe not now, but soon. The demon will show itself to Cristina, and when she sees it, she must order him to run away. When Cristina questions what happens if she doesn't see the demon, Luz laughs demonically and tells her that she will, see the demon. Cristina left alone in the room, tied up for the last part of the ritual. Wanting to get it over with, Cristina pretends to see the demon, but fails to convince anyone with her great acting. She then suddenly notices a black snake crawl into her room from the window. She freaks out and calls for help as the snake makes its way towards her. Adding to her woes, a second black snake enters the room and starts crawling over her body. As the snake gets closer to her face, suddenly Javi appears and takes away the snakes. Luz then feels Cristina's stomach and stamps her palm on the wall over a peculiar symbol, leaving an impression of her hand. I bet she really is regretting coming to La Boca now. Later, after Cristina cleans herself, Miranda arrives and Cristina expresses anger over Miranda ignoring her pleas for help. She tells her that she was supposed to be her family. Miranda gets offended by the statement and accuses Cristina of not knowing the meaning of family and for abandoning her family in Mexico for 20 years. After Miranda leaves, Cristina feeds the rooster in her room and again pulls out her pouch. She empties all of her remaining drugs and injects herself. She soon starts having visions and shakes in fear. Suddenly, something pulls her blanket and runs out of the room, freaking Cristina out. When she looks around, Cristina finds the blood-stained blanket on the floor with something moving under it. She nervously lifts the blanket and finds the savagely killed rooster under it. Cristina finally starts to believe that the demon exists, but still stops short of admitting it out loud to Miranda. But Luz warns Cristina that the demon is almost here. I mean, that severely mangled dead rooster can't be just a bad dream. Miranda brings books on demons and exorcisms in order to help Cristina learn what is inside of her, but she laughs off the books, offending Miranda. She asks Cristina if doesn't believe in demons, then what she saw 20 years ago when her mother was being exorcised. Cristina tells her that she doesn't remember anything and she just wants to go back home. She again asks Miranda to help her get out of this place. Seeing Miranda ignore her pleas for help again, Cristina gets agitated and tightly grabs her wrists, leaving bruise marks on her hand. Miranda assures Cristina that it is the demon inside of her that is making her so restless. On the verge of tears, Cristina finally resigns and asks Miranda about the demon that has possessed her. After Miranda suggests she reads the red book, Cristina goes through the creepy-looking book with frightening depictions. As she reaches the page explaining the Posteki demon, the candles start to burn out one by one, seemingly leading her to a dark corner in the room. She nervously walks towards the corner with her lighter, just as she notices a pair of eyes. She is startled by the chain on her foot. When she again looks back at the corner, the eyes disappear and a gust of wind blows out her lighter. The next day, Cristina again notices the boy outside her window and waves at the child, but he again runs away. As she again starts going through the books, Miranda brings her a rag doll their grandma made for Cristina. Miranda claims that it will protect Cristina and ward off evil spirits. Miranda wonders why Cristina went to La Boca when she doesn't even believe in their culture and traditions. Miranda adds that when she saw Cristina after being rescued, her eyes gleamed like she had found what she had came looking for. Miranda further reveals that when her aunt died, and Cristina was taken away, Miranda was stricken with sadness. It was like a seed. For a time, she nurtured it, fed it, but eventually she had to starve it before it bore fruit, because that is what the demon feasts upon. She lastly adds that Cristina was found in the cave before the demon could consume her. Cristina's demeanor suddenly changes, and she asks Miranda how she was found while crushing the ragdoll in anger. The demon has taken over the woman. Cristina is strapped to her bed, and she goes under spirit healing, psychic surgery, if you will. Luz reads chants over Cristina's body, and then lifts her top. She then sticks her fingers inside Cristina's navel, and pulls a pouch-like thing from her abdomen. Did she just pull out her stomach? When she slits open the pouch, it releases a black gooey stuff. When she cleans it, it is revealed to be animal teeth. Luz again ventures into her abdomen and pierces it with her bare hand, like it's paper. Cristina screams in pain and pleads with Luz to stop. Luz continues and pulls out a snake from inside Cristina, but the animal slips away from her hand and goes back in. The procedure leaves a scar on Cristina's abdomen, and she is badly shaken. She realizes that it was Miranda who brought her back from the cave to Luz and Javi. She blames her for putting her in the situation and tries to attack her. Miranda, frightened by her cousin, quickly leaves. Later that night, Cristina watches the demon crushing a rat and place it on her hand. She freaks out and screams in fear. Javi quickly arrives, and Cristina points him in the direction of the dark corner. He prays and walks over towards the corner, when suddenly, Cristina stabs him from behind with her syringe and chokes him with a wire. After he passes out, she pulls out the keys from Javi's pockets and frees herself. She then grabs her cell phone and proceeds to flee through the door, but an invisible force prevents her from leaving. I had a feeling this plan would backfire on her. Cristina starts coughing and pulls out a long hair from her mouth. Then the old woman then appears and inspects the hair hair, Cristina finally admits to herself that the demon, Posteki, has possessed her and asks Luz to help her, who then consoles her and gives her some goat milk. Javi is angry at what Cristina did to him, but Luz reminds her son that where there is forgiveness, there's peace. Cristina apologizes to Javi and nurses his wounds. Javi accepts her apology, and they bond over a game. Cristina reveals that when her mother got sick, she was brought to a healer because they didn't have money for a doctor. As a consequence, Cristina's mother died, and she was put in foster care. She laments how that healer ruined her life. Instead of continuing to wallow in misery, Cristina resolves to take back control of her life. She cleans her room, discards her drug needles, and finishes reading the Red Book. She learns that Posteki is the death god of broken souls, and he inhabited Cristina because of the chronic depression she suffered from as a result of losing her mother and having a hard childhood. Cristina was summoned back to Mexico by the demon so he could completely consume her broken soul. She then comes across a ritual in the book through which the demon can be drawn out and asks Luz to perform the ritual. Javi warns her that it is extremely painful and dangerous, but she insists on doing it. Before the ritual, she records a video for her report where she admits that she had come to Mexico to take her life. She chose to go to La Boca because she knew that it was a forbidden place and no one would be able to find her, a place where she could die in the darkness. She further adds that she is still alive because of people who, when they see others in pain and suffering, they don't look away in disgust. Later, Cristina is prepared for the ritual. Luz nails Cristina on the floor by nailing a voodoo triangle. She then repeatedly blows a death whistle as Cristina screams in pain. Javi is chanting around her when suddenly, Cristina again finds herself in the cave. She notices her note saying, "Don't let me die," in the cave, then has a flashback to her mom's exorcism for a few seconds. She then further inspects the cave. She finds the same boy she had been seeing outside her room. The boy runs further into the cave, and she is then suddenly attacked by the demon. Cristina wakes up, screaming in pain. She has sustained an injury to her eye. She tells Luz about the boy, but they tell her that they don't know any boy living nearby. Cristina then sees the boy outside the room, screaming like a demon. Oh, so this punk was the demon all along. The boy again runs away and locks them inside. The demon then presents itself, frightening Cristina. Luz orders the demon to leave, but she soon starts getting weak. She then takes one last look at her son before seizing Posteki's heart to save Cristina, sacrificing herself in the process. And poof, Luz is gone. Cristina is finally able to leave the house, and they give Luz a dignified burial. Cristina says that she wishes she was a better person for Luz's sacrifice. After his mother's funeral, Javi leaves the house for good. Later, Miranda gets upset when she learns that Cristina is planning to leave Mexico again. During this conversation, Carson gets a hold of Cristina on her cell. Miranda doesn't look happy. She notices that Miranda is angry, crushing the ragdoll. Cristina realizes that the demon entered Miranda from the scratch mark she had given her before. When Cristina tells Miranda about it, she panics. Fear-stricken, Miranda asks Cristina to help her get rid of it. Cristina refuses, fearing that she might end up hurting Miranda, but Miranda tells her that she believes in her. Luz's spirit then appears and leads Cristina to her belongings, giving her the encouragement to perform the ritual. Cristina and Miranda make preparations for the ritual. Cristina paints herself and assumes Bruja's role. She applies ash on Miranda, causing Miranda to scream and attack her. Cristina pushes her off and quickly nails Miranda's hands on the floor. Before she nails Miranda's feet, Cristina realizes that the demon can't survive inside Miranda because she doesn't have sadness on which he can feed on. She then touches Miranda's face, expelling the demon in the process. The demon then drags Miranda outside, but Cristina saves her by blowing on the death whistle. Miranda asks Cristina to flee with her, but realizing that they can't run away from the demon, Cristina decides to face it. She gets on her knees and offers herself to the demon, who then finally manifests itself in its real form. As it proceeds to consume her, Cristina snatches its heart and tosses it towards Miranda. Enraged, the demon attacks Cristina, but Miranda stabs its heart, thereby burning and killing the demon. The next day, another American is brought to the house by locals. When Miranda removes his cover, he is revealed to be Cristina's editor, Carson, who had come looking for Cristina. Cristina, who seemingly has assumed the role of the new Bruja, appears and takes a look in Carson's eyes. She instantly realizes that he has been possessed and begins the ritual to save him. Hope you enjoyed our summary. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos weekly. Thanks.